What's happening, Blades? We're back. We're back in the old familiar position where we know we can get a signal, we can get a video done in quick time, no messing about, don't have to panic about uploads or bloody worrying about all these little things. So that's first thing. Home comforts and all that, although we've had a lovely breakaway. But what a day yesterday. What a day. Do you know what? It was such a weird game because I were expecting similar to Wigan, if I'm honest. Maybe a little bit more fight, but I thought the way they would play would suit us predominantly because they just pump a long ball forward and we deal with it quite comfortably, regain possession and go again. Didn't happen like that really. I mean, there were a bit of long balls, they were sometimes trying to catch us like that, but they played a lot more than I'd expected. And I thought they were quite tricky opposition. Particularly, obviously, I thought they were fortunate with the first goal, with the penalty. But listen, they were fortunate with a lot, to be fair, because that referee was absolutely horrendous. Awful ref. What else can you say? I thought some tackles that were flying in for both sides, to be honest, but predominantly on us. McBurney at one point, second half, got his legs wiped out from underneath him. No free kick. And then he won a free kick, which he'd played for. It were inconsistent, it were ridiculous. I think it was from a corner, it was certainly from some sort of cross. I think it was Cabba. Somebody tries overhead kick as one of our lads is coming, I think it's Robbo, to head it clear. Well, you've just given a penalty against us for high foot, but you're not going to give a free kick there when his foot's in air. And listen, I don't want overhead kicks to go out at game because I think they're a brilliant spectacle. But you've got to be consistent in your decision making. Anyway, that's by the by because obviously McAtee, when they went 1-0 up, I thought they were on top. They started to obviously come into the game after that, and we didn't panic, which he noted afterwards, which I thought were really good. But I did think they'd started to sort of certainly get back into the game, but we're sort of on top a little bit. And then McAtee's goal came at the right time. We needed a goal. Obviously, we needed a goal, but in terms of the momentum of the game, so that all starts from Illiman winning the ball back. From there, Manny robs him. McAtee picks it up and does really well. How much has James McAtee come on? He's a shadow of the player that started the season with us. And I know that's the aim of loans, isn't it? That they go on a bit of a journey, a development journey. But this kid's improvement is the one of the fastest I've seen in a season. And then I thought Illiman's goal were going to be my favourite. So the first three goals that we scored, I thought were all brilliant. And I can't pick which is my favourite, and it's between two really. I always thought Illiman's were going to be my favourite, just because of how clever it was and how sharp he was. But you can't beat a diving header, can you? Tommy Doyle crosses the ball from a corner. Poor cross. Comes back out. I think it's Baldock that lays it back to him. Because it gets headed out by first man. Comes to Baldock, I assume, and I'd have to go back and check that bit. But he plays Tommy back in down line. Tommy whips in a beautiful cross. Absolutely. And Matt put on a brilliant tweet, which I'll put here. Because I just thought it was funny. About Tommy Doyle could deliver his Chinese from the right wing and it'd land on his plate. But it were a beautiful cross. And out of the crowd of players comes a diving Jack Robinson. And listen, I feel like I talk about him every video because everyone knows my opinion on him. But I don't want it to get misconstrued that I don't like him or I don't think he gives a lot of effort. The one thing I will say, which I don't think I've said previous, he's certainly one of the most improved players in the team. No doubt about it. and he's putting himself now in contention for a contract. And I still am on the side of the fence that he's not good enough for the Premier League, because in that season where we were horrendous in the Prem, the second season, he was the target. They would ping it over his head and it would be him every single time. Now he's improved since then, but has he improved to the levels necessary? I said to Dave, show me a player that's out of contract to end of season without showing me a player that's out of contract. Because is it the old Leon Clark syndrome where he's absolutely on fire and then we give him a new contract and he plummets? So I don't know, but fair play to Jack Robinson. He's playing superb at the minute. He were in the conversation again for man of the match. Didn't put a foot wrong yesterday. I can't say any other. The third goal, Illiman, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Chased McGuinness down, this absolutely colossus defender, Mark McGuinness, who's been on loan at Wednesday and is one of the best players they've seen in a Wednesday shirt. I thought it was shocking yesterday. Absolutely awful. Tries playing a back pass, it's short, well short, because he panicked under the... It just shows the difference between the two sides, doesn't it? He's one of the best players they've seen, and he's one of the worst opposition players we've seen. So, mind that gap. And I'll come on to that in just a sec. But for the goal, Illiman chases him down, forces him into a short back pass. He nips in between before keeper can get there and just beautifully just pokes it slightly past the keeper. Keeper's sliding out and in slow motion must be thinking, no. Because he rolls past him, keeper slides away, Illiman smashes it into an empty net from like 3 yards out. Absolutely brilliant. Just that player is too good for us. And I don't say that disrespectfully to the club, because we all love our club. And that is the thing that we're not going to, Illiman joins PSG, we're going to go follow him. Well, don't get me wrong, I'll always look out for his career because of what he's done for us. But with Blades out with, I'm not doing us down, but he will go on to bigger and better things than Sheffield United, because he deserves it. What a player. And as long as we get financially compensated for that, then everybody wins, don't they, I think? Because he is some talent. Best I've ever seen at Lane. Best I have ever seen. And just nipping back to our friends across the city, they had a terrible day again yesterday. So Plymouth and Ipswich both won. Plymouth won away and Ipswich spanked Charlton 6-0. They are banging form, Ipswich. They've won something like 9 out of 10, only conceded 1 goal in that run. Unbelievable form. They are going up automatically. It's just whether Plymouth can hold out, I think. But this is the table as it looks for them, just very quickly, because I know we don't talk about them too much. The only reason I bring them up, really, is because Wednesday lost at Burton, and the man synonymous with Burton, really, and us. And I know he's played for other clubs, Derby and whatever, yeah. But John Brayford scored the first goal, the Beard, scored the first goal for them. They ended up beating him 3-2, and he posts this afterwards on Twitter, which I thought, once a blade, lad, always a blade. So, fantastic. And then, obviously, back to the game, Kieran Clark comes on, who Nick hilariously and quite rightly posted, he's been out that long, he's turned grey. It's like, Jesus, where's he been? I thought it were a really smart move. It were actually, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but Bogle, look, I like Jayden Bogle. We've seen what he can do, so I'm certainly not writing him off. But he's in appalling form at the minute. I didn't think he were as bad yesterday, but he certainly weren't great. And I don't know what's happened. And a lot of people talking about him being a confidence player. I think that's one of the only answers we can come to at the minute, because he looks a bit of a shadow player that he was when he went out injured, because he were banging form and one of our better players. So I'm sure he'll come back at some stage, but he's not firing at the moment. But George Baldock is immense. Absolutely brilliant job at right centre-back, filling in. Just any job you ask him to do, he's just 100% blood and thunder. Absolutely love him. Captain material. I would have him wear armband when Billy retires. I know it'll be Egan, but when Billy goes. Anyway, so I'd suggested this change to my dad, and it actually happened where he brings Bogle off, puts Clark on, but Clark goes to middle at 3 rather than the right. We saw him have that awful performance, awful debut. Well, it wasn't an awful debut to be fair, but it was just an awkward debut on first game at season against Watford. It's his wrong side. You get a right centre-back, shouldn't be a left footer, because it's just all wrong, really. And I thought in middle, he looks much more comfortable. Egan's a little bit more adaptable. I'm not expecting Egan to bomb on down the right, but it wasn't about that at that stage. It was about being solid. I think we were 3-1 up at that stage. We were certainly 2-1 up, if not 3, when Clark came on. So I thought it was a good move, and obviously Georgie goes back to right wing back. And then the most bizarre goal I've ever seen. We couldn't see what were happening, really. It was like pinball. And I don't think the crowd knew what had happened either, whether it were in, whether he'd blown for something else, because it were a really tepid reaction to it fourth. And obviously we've been going crazy at first 3 that went in. But it were like, oh, is it gone in? Is he giving it? Has he given a free kick against? What's gone off here? But it's basically, it's been a corner and it's been pinball against our own men. So Jackie Robinson gets up, heads it down onto Sander, pretty much. It's him in chest. People are trying to claim Fran ball. It's him in chest, and Kieran Clark comes and smashes it in from a yard out. Don't care how they go into it. 4-1, brilliant. I'd like to 5-1 just to say to Middlesbrough, anything you can do, but I don't think it were a 4-1 game. I thought we controlled it for large portions. I think 2-0, maybe 3 at a push would have been a fair reflection. But I thought Cardiff were okay. I think they'll have enough to get out of it. They couldn't finish the dinner, to be honest. That's going to be their problem. But for us, I've touched on a couple of performances that I thought Bogle were below par. I thought McBurney is still not firing 100% as he needs to, but I thought he were okay. Other than that, I thought everybody played really well. Max Lowe, I'm not a huge fan of, but I've seen some people saying that Sander were awful, blah blah blah, all this sort of stuff. Sander Berge is getting better and better in this team, and look, we know he goes up and down in terms of his form. He's been playing better than this previously, but he's certainly not in poor form. I counted, I think it were twice he lost possession. Obviously, one were very notable because it forced a breakaway from them, and then he chases him down and literally pulls him. And he had to. It were a tactical foul to get a booking, but they were away, and that were his mistake. But I don't think he really put a foot wrong after that. So I think it's just people notice a lot more with Sander because of the way he plays. He makes it look a little bit effortless to a degree, and some people may think, and I think McBurney in a different way, but also suffers from people's perception. Their price tags don't help. But McBurney isn't a lung-busting, chase him down with everything you've got sort of player. And that, I'm not defending that. That's his style. He looks like he's jogging or walking half of the time, and that frustrates people. Sander, similar. The thing with Sander, I think needs improvement. He's not his on-the-ball stuff, even though he were caught once or twice yesterday. Usually he's very good with ball at his feet. For me, it's Sander's press that needs improving. But to say we're poor yesterday, I mean, look at his stats. United posted his stats yesterday just to highlight how strong he was. And I agree. I think he had a really good game in the whole. So, and I can't say enough good words about those two City boys. What kind of performance we're going to put in without them in the team against Man City, I've got no idea. But as we've been saying for quite some time now, if we do go up, and it's becoming a smaller if every time, Tommy Doyle is a priority to buy. I don't think McAtee will be available to buy, if I'm honest, and he'll certainly be out of our price range. Tommy Doyle is a priority because as much as he is a very good player for us, He's not a Man City player. James McAtee has got a chance, I think, just because of his rapid rate of progression. He needs to work harder out of possession as well, in terms of chasing back when he's upfield and he's losing the ball. He needs to be back quicker to help defend, but he's coming on leaps and bounds. So really positive yesterday. Shame that Rotherham couldn't do the business for us, but it's 8 points now from 5 games, and 3 of those are at home. Beat Bristol, it's down to 5. And we play Tuesday. Luton and Borough have gone, to be fair, so I don't know whether we even include them in conversation anymore, but Luton play Wednesday. So again, we've got the opportunity to set the marker down on Tuesday night against Bristol. I never like playing Bristol City, and I know a lot of you will be agreeing with that, because they're a bit of a bogey team for us. They're always a dodgy fixture. They set us back in our last promotion campaign, and tricky, but they're bang out of form at the minute. Alex Scott, the man that we all want to sign, but in reality, Sheffield United will have no chance of signing him, if that's just my opinion. He's out for the season. And that sounds dramatic, doesn't it? But let's be right, it's only about 4 weeks now. So, huge game. Again, 3 points is all that matters. I don't care whether it comes off McBurney's backside. Just let's get those points on the board. Get it down to 5 required, 5 points needed. We need to end up on 87 points to be 100% sure, and that's if Luton win every single game. We're on 79 now. We need 8 points. So get it down to 5 that we need by beating Bristol. And then we can sort of have an easier watch, because if by some miracle Reading beat Luton, or even hold them to a draw, somebody else will have to work this out because it's getting too convoluted for me. But I think if Luton don't beat Reading and then they play Borough next Monday after we've played City, we could go up without playing if we beat Bristol. But anyway, I'm trying to work things out, and I think it could happen against West Brom at home, and if it doesn't, it should happen Preston at home, but we shall see. There's a long way to go, every game at a time. It's an old cliche, but it's worked for us. Bristol will be a tough game, no matter who they've got in or out, whatever form they're in. We just need those 3 points. A huge thank you to our Ramblers, who we've had another member join. Ray, much appreciated, pal. We're helping the channel grow, aren't we, all the time? Fantastic support, as always. Anyone that says I'm a shill, I disagree completely. So get your merch below at the links below. But no, seriously though, the support is really appreciated. It's just about getting more eyes on the Ramble, and people will make their own mind up whether they want to stay with us or not, won't they? So please do like, comment, share with your mates. Tell them what we're doing here and how we're growing. We are trying new stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm hoping you won't get another live from my car at Primrose Valley where it doesn't work. But, you know, you never know what the future holds, do you? But yeah, if you're not subscribed, then please do so. And if you want early access to some of this content, then consider becoming a Rambler. Thanks again. I'm confident for Bristol, but as cautiously confident is probably the best way to put it. Come on, you red and white wizards, up the bling! Ramble on! Well, now's the time